Good morning, my friends. Today I want to speak to your hearts about something I know many of you are carrying. A burden, a question, a quiet fear about what lies ahead. Maybe you're standing at a crossroads, unsure which path to take, torn between options that all seem foggy and uncertain, including Nebuchadnezzar. Maybe you're facing a closed door, a dream you've chased, a hope you've held, including Nebuchadnezzar, now blocked by circumstances you can't control, and you're wondering if it will ever open again. Or maybe you're just tired of waiting for answers. Nebuchadnezzar, tired of trying to make things work, tired of wondering if God even hears your prayers in the stillness of the night. If that's you today, if you're Nebuchadnezzar, nodding your head or feeling a lump in your throat, I want you to lean in and listen closely, because I believe God has a word for you. Don't worry, God will open the right door. Life has a way of shaking us, doesn't it? We make our plans with care, mapping out our days, setting our goals, pouring our sweat and tears into making things happen. We imagine the future like a clear road stretching out before us. But then something shifts, and it all changes in a heartbeat. A door slams shut, a job you thought was yours disappears, a relationship you built your world around crumbles, a dream you've nurtured fades into shadows. And in those raw, aching moments, it's easy to feel like God has forgotten you. It's easy to feel like you're stranded in the hallway of life, staring at a locked door with no key, wondering if you'll ever move forward again. But let me tell you something, my friends, something I've seen time and time again. God is still at work. Even when you can't see his hands moving. Nebuchadnezzar, even when you can't feel his presence in the storm, he is weaving a story behind the scenes. He will open the right door at the right time, and when he does, you'll see it was worth every moment of the wait. Now, I know what some of you are thinking as you sit there, maybe with a cup of coffee growing cold in your hands. What if I miss it? What if I make the wrong choice? Including Nebuchadnezzar, what if I step through the wrong door and ruin everything? Let me ease your heart for a moment. If you, including Nebuchadnezzar, if you are seeking God, if you're truly seeking his will with a sincere heart, he will not let you miss it. He is not a God who hides from you. Nebuchadnezzar, lurking in the shadows to trip you up. He is not a God who plays games with your future, leaving you to guess and stumble. He is a loving Father who cares deeply about every single detail of your life, the big dreams, the small worries, the quiet hopes you barely whisper. Psalm 32:8 says, Nebuchadnezzar, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Did you catch that? With his loving eye on you. Picturing Nebuchadnezzar, picture the creator of the universe, the one who hung the stars and carved the mountains, watching over you with a tenderness that never fades. Nebuchadnezzar guiding you step by step toward the door he's prepared just for you. He's not distant, barking orders from a far-off throne. He's not indifferent, shrugging at your struggles. He's right there, his gaze fixed on you, his heart beating for you. But here's the hard part, the part we all wrestle with in waiting. Oh, how we struggle with waiting! We want answers delivered overnight, doors to swing open the moment we knock, the full picture painted in bright colors right now. Nebuchadnezzar, but God doesn't always work on our timetable. Sometimes he asks us to wait because he's preparing us for what's on the other side, building our strength, deepening our roots. Sometimes he's teaching us to trust him, to lean into him when the ground feels shaky. And sometimes he's protecting us from something we can't yet see, a danger, a detour, a disaster we'd stumble into if we rushed ahead. Whatever the reason, including Nebuchadnezzar, here this waiting is never wasted in God's economy. It's purposeful, it's redemptive, it's a sacred chance to draw closer to him, to hear his whisper in the quiet. Let me tell you a story to bring this home. A few years ago, I met a woman named Rachel. She was a single mom with 2 little boys, bright-eyed kids with gap-toothed smiles, working 2 jobs to keep the lights on. Rachel had a dream burning in her chesting. She wanted to start a small bakery, not just to pay the bills, but to create something lasting, a legacy her boys could point to one day and say, that's my mom's. She'd kneel by her bed every night, praying God open the doorway. But month after month, The answer seemed to be no. Nebuchadnezzar, bank loans got denied with cold, stamped letters. Landlords turned her away, saying her credit wasn't good enough. She'd stand in her cramped kitchen, mixing dough by hand with flour, dusting her apron, wondering if God had heard her prayers at all. One day she came to me, her voice trembling, tears streaking her face. Including Nebuchadnezzar, I've been praying for a year. She said, I bake every night, I save every penny. Why isn't the door opening? I took her hands and said, Rachel, including Neb, God's not silent, he's working. Keep trusting, keep praying, and keep your hands off the doorknob, including Nebuchadnezzar. He's got this. She didn't fully believe me then. Her eyes were too clouded with doubt. But she held on. 2 years later, a miracle walked in. A local shop went bankrupt, and the owner, a gruff old man she'd never met, called her out of the blue. He'd tasted her bread at a church event and said, Nebuchadnezzar, I'm retiring. Take my space, half the rent, no questions. She opened Rachel's bread, and within 6 months, the line stretched out the door. I visited her one sunny afternoon, the smell of cinnamon rolls filling the air, and asked, was it worth the wait? She laughed, her boys playing behind the counter, and said, every closed door was God saving me from a mistake. He opened the right one when I was ready. Stronger, wiser, full of faith. That's the God we serve, my friends. Faithful to the last second, precise in his timing, perfect in his love. Now let's get real, because I know life isn't always a neat little story tied up with a bow. Sometimes it feels more like a maze than a hallway. Twists and turns, dead ends and detours you never saw coming. Maybe you've been knocking on a door for years, a job you've dreamed of since you were a kid, a child you've prayed for through countless tears, a healing you've begged God to send, and all you get is silence. Maybe you've watched others walk through their doors with ease. Promotions handed out, weddings celebrated, breakthroughs shouted from the rooftops, while yours stays stubbornly locked, and you're left whispering, God, where are you? Do you even see me in this mess? I've been there too, friends. Let me take you back to a season of my own. Years ago, I stood at a closed door that nearly broke me. I'd poured everything into a ministry project, every spare hour, every dollar I could scrape together, every prayer I could muster. It was an outreach to feed families in need, to show them God's love in a tangible way. I had big plans, a warehouse, volunteers, trucks rolling out with supplies, but then it all fell apart. The funding dried up overnight. Volunteers bailed with weak excuses. I was left with a stack of unpaid bills, a crumbling vision, and a heart that felt betrayed. I remember sitting in my car, rain pounding the windshield, crying out, God, why? I did this for you. Where are you? The heavens felt like brass, cold, silent, unmoving. For months, I wrestled with doubt, wondering if I'd misheard him entirely. Then one gray morning, out of nowhere, my phone rang. A stranger on the line said, I heard about your project, the one that failed. I want to fund something new, something bigger. Let's feed twice as many people. That closed door I'd cursed, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God wasn't silent. He was orchestrating a plan I couldn't have dreamed up myself. And when that new door opened, I walked through it with a faith I'd never had before. Here's the truth I want you to hold tight. Silence does not mean absence. Including Nebuchadnezzar, just because you can't see God moving doesn't mean he's not working behind the curtain of your life. Including Nebuchadnezzar, just because you can't hear his voice doesn't mean he's not speaking in ways you'll one day understand. Sometimes his greatest miracles unfold in the quietest corners where no one's watching but him. Think about the Red Sea. God didn't part it until the Israelites stood with water lapping at their sandals. Pharaoh's army closing in, including Nuke about Lazarus. Jesus waited 4 days, letting grief settle in deep before calling him out of the tomb, including Nebuchadnezzar. Think about the cross, 3 days of darkness and despair, the stone rolled away. God's timing isn't ours, it's better. And while you're waiting, including Nebuchadnezzar, he's not just opening doors, he's opening you. He's softening the hard edges of your heart, strengthening the weak places in your faith, including Nebuchadnezzar, aligning your desires with his eternal purpose. Waiting isn't a pause to waste, it's a process to embrace. It's not a delay to dread, it's a dividing Nebuchadnezzar. It's a divine appointment where God shapes you into the person who can walk through that door with boldness, grace, and Nebuchadnezzar, and a testimony that lights up the dark. So what you do while you wait, you trust that he sees every tear, hears every sigh. If you can, you pray, not just for open doors, but for open eyes to see his hand. You seek his face, not just his answers, but his heart. You rest in the truth that he is faithful, that his promises never fail. But let me add something else, Sag. Dream. Yes, dream. Don't let a closed door bury your imagination under a pile of disappointment. Picturing Nebuchadnezzar, what's on the other side? Not just an open door, but a doorway to destiny. Maybe it's a career where you shine his light into places of despair, including Nebuchadnezzar. Maybe it's a family restored by his love, knit back together stronger than before. Maybe it's a calling so big it scares you, a vision that stretches beyond your lifetime. Whatever it is, hold it in your heart like a treasure and give it to God. Stop trying to pry that door open with your own strength, your worry, your plans, your frantic knocking. Stop banging on it with fear as if God's asleep on the job. Lift your hands instead to the one who holds the keys, the one who opens doors no man can shut and shuts doors no man can open. Say to him, "Oh God, I trust you." Including Nebuchadnezzar, I trust your timing even when it feels too slow. I trust your plan even when it doesn't match mine. Including Nebuchadnezzar, I believe you'll open the right door when it's time, because here's the heartbeat of it all. God isn't just working for you, he's working in you. Every closed door, every quiet season, every moment you've felt stuck is building something inside you. Resilience to weather storms, wisdom to choose well, faith to stand tall when the wind howls. Let me paint a picture to carry you through. Imagine you're a sailor lost at sea, adrift on a vast, restless ocean. The winds have died, leaving your sails limp, including Nebuchadnezzar. The stars are hidden behind thick clouds, and your little boat rocks in the dark, carried by currents you can't control. You're scared, frustrated, including Nebuchadnezzar, ready to toss your compass overboard and give up. But what you don't see, what you can't see, is the lighthouse keeper on the shore. He's there, including Nebuchadnezzar, steady and unseen, stoking the flame in his tower, watching your every drift. He's waiting for the perfect moment. Not too soon, when you'd miss the harbor, including Nebuchadnezzar. Not too late, when you'd wreck on the rocks, to shine the beam that cuts through the night and guides you home. That's God in your waiting, my friends. Including Nebuchadnezzar, you might feel lost, tossed by waves of doubt, but he's never lost sight of you. He's timing the light just right, steering you toward a shore you can't yet see, a harbor of purpose, a piece of promises fulfilled. And when you dock, when your feet touch solid ground, including Nebuchadnezzar, you'll look back at every storm, every still night, and say, it was worth it. Including Nebuchadnezzar, he brought me here. That's what he's doing right now, guiding you through the fog, even when you can't feel the wind shifting. Now, I know waiting isn't easy. It's raw, it's messy, it's humbling. Nebuchadnezzar. Sometimes it feels like you're the only one stuck in the hallway while everyone else is waltzing through their open doors. You scroll through your phone on a lonely night and see friends posting about new jobs, just got promoted, or new milestones we're expecting, or new adventures, living my best life. And you wonder, why not me? Why is my door still locked tight? It stings, doesn't it? That H of comparison, including Nebuchadnezzar, that whisper of I'm falling behind. But listen close, comparison is a thief. It sneaks in and robs your peace, steals your joy. Nebuchadnezzar blinds you to the beauty of your own story. God's plan for you isn't theirs. It's yours alone, crafted with a precision that defies human logic. His timing for you is unique, a masterpiece painted stroke by stroke. What looks like a delay to you is a gift to him, a chance to dig deeper into his word, to lean harder into his arms, to become more than you ever dreamed possible. Look at Joseph in the Bible, sold into slavery by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, then a prison, forgotten for years behind bars, every door slammed shut, betrayal, chains, silence. But God was working. Every no was forging a leader, every tear tempering a heart that would one day save nations. Then in a single day, God swung wide the palace gates And Joseph stepped out as Egypt's second in command. Those waiting years weren't punishment. They were preparation. And right now in your waiting, God's forging you too, for a purpose, a people, a promise only you can carry. Let me tell you about another life I've seen this play out in. There was a young man named Daniel, barely 20, fresh out of high school with a fire to make a difference. He wanted to start a nonprofit to help kids in his neighborhood. Kids like he'd been, growing up with empty stomachs and emptier hopes. He prayed hard, knocked on every door he could find, churches, charities, city officials. But every answer was no. You're too young, they said. You've got no experience. He'd sit on his porch at night, staring at the stars, asking God, did I hear you wrong? One evening, he told me, I'm ready to quit. Maybe this isn't my door. I said, Daniel, don't give up. God's not done. Keep praying, keep preparing. He's building something. For 2 years, he waited, taking odd jobs, studying online, writing plans in a beat-up notebook. Then one day, a local pastor called. I've got a building, he said. It's yours if you want it. Daniel's nonprofit launched last year, Hope Rising, and it's feeding dozens of kids every week. I asked him recently, what did you learn? He grinned and said, God closed every door I wasn't ready for. He opened the right one when I could carry it. That's our God, patient, purposeful, perfect. So let me ask you, my friends, what door are you staring at today? Is it a door of opportunity, a new job, a bold leap into the unknown? Is it a door of healing for a body that's weary, a heart that's bruised? Is it a door of restoration, a marriage hanging by a thread, a friendship lost to time, a dream buried under years of dust? Whatever it is, take your hands off the knob. Stop pushing with your plans. Stop striving with your strength. Stop exhausting yourself trying to force God's hand before He's ready. Surrender it to Him, all of it, the weight, the worry, the what-ifs. Trust that if it's not opening, it's not your door. Not yet, or maybe not ever. Because when God opens a door, you won't need a battering ram or a bribe. It'll swing wide with a peace that floods your soul like a river, a confirmation that hums in your bones. This is it. This is mine for you. And when it does, He won't just point the way and wave goodbye. He'll walk through it with you. His presence will light the path when it twists, steady your steps when they falter, carry you when you can't go another mile. That's the God we serve, not a distant clockmaker winding up the world and walking away, but a faithful friend who never leaves your side, who whispers in the dark, I'm here and I've got you. Here's where it gets personal again, because I want you to know I'm not just preaching from a pedestal. I'm living this too. I've seen this over and over in my own messy, beautiful life. Once I prayed for months to move to a new city, new job, new start, a fresh chapter I'd written in my mind. I was sure it was God's will. Everything lined up on paper. I sent applications, networked like crazy, even packed a few boxes in faith, but every door shut hard, rejections in my inbox, leads gone cold, silence where I'd expected a yes. I got angry, bitter even. God, I'm trying to follow you. Why won't you open this? Did I miss your voice? I wrestled with it for weeks, pacing my living room, questioning everything. Then one afternoon, out of the blue, a friend called about a chance to stay right where I was, leading a community project I'd never considered, a quiet idea I dismissed. I took it dragging my feet, grumbling under my breath, and it changed everything. Hundreds of lives touched, families fed, my faith stretched to new horizons. That closed door I'd hated with every fiber of my being. It was God's mercy, slamming shut a detour that would have dimmed my purpose and guiding me to a destiny I couldn't see. Maybe you've got a story like that too. A door you mourned, a no you resented that led you to a yes you'd never have chosen. That's His pattern, closing what harms, opening what heals, turning our ashes into something beautiful. So today I challenge you, right here, right now, to let go, release the need to control every outcome, to script every scene of your life. Stop staring at locked doors with clenched fists. eyes clouded with frustration, and start lifting your eyes to the one who sees tomorrow clearer than we see yesterday. Dream big while you wait. Don't shrink your hopes to fit the hallway you're pacing. Picture a future where every closed door becomes a testimony of His faithfulness, every delay a triumph of His timing. Pray with me now. Let's bring it to Him together. Father, we come before you with open hearts and open hands. We surrender our plans, our fears, our doubts, our tight grips on doors that won't budge. We lay them at your feet, Lord. Guide us to the doors you've prepared, doors of purpose, doors of peace, doors of promise. Give us patience to wait when the clock drags, faith to trust when the way is dim, courage to step forward when you whisper no. Thank you for your unshakable love that never falters, your perfect timing that never fails, your promise to never leave us wandering alone. We trust you, Lord. We trust you with our todays and our tomorrows. In your holy name we pray, Amen. Nebuchadnezzar. But don't stop there, friends. Keep going. Dream while you wait, because God's not done with you yet. He's not finished writing your story. Picture a queue, including Nebuchadnezzar. 5 years from now, you're standing on the other side of this season. The doors that wouldn't budge are distant memories, replaced by wide open gates you never imagined. You're living a life that shines His light. Maybe it's a business like Rachel's, feeding souls as well as bodies. Maybe it's a ministry like mine, reaching hands that were once empty. Maybe it's a quiet victory, a mended heart, a restored hope no one saw coming. People will ask, including Nebuchadnezzar, how did you get here? When did this happen? And you'll smile a deep knowing smile and say, God did it, including Nebuchadnezzar. Every closed door was His no to lead me to His yes. That's the story He's writing with your life, a story of redemption, of doors flung wide, of a Nebuchadnezzar, of a destiny only He could design. It's not just about the doors He opens. It's about the you He's building along the way, stronger with every step, braver with every weight, richer with every trust. So don't worry, my friends. Don't let fear wrap its chains around your heart. Including Nebuchadnezzar, don't let doubt steal the breath from your lungs. Trust Him with your closed doors, your unanswered prayers, your waiting seasons. Including Nebuchadnezzar, the right door is coming, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, but it's coming. And when it opens, you'll step through with a song in your heart, a spring in your step, knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that His hand led you all the way. He's not just leading you to a door, He's leading you to a destiny. So hold fast, keep praying, keep dreaming, keep trusting. God bless you richly. Go in peace, and know this, the one who holds the keys is holding you too.